But they plant the seed in your mind that if you're not doing those things, you're going to gain weight. And if your body's going to change. And everybody was always complimenting me on how skinny I was, which was natural. And then, so I never wanted to lose it, I guess. I was scared to lose that, especially as I was becoming a teenager and my body was starting to, I just was changing on me. I wasn't 13 anymore. Right. So it's scary when your body starts to change as a young person and nobody's having those conversations with you that your body should be changing.
High school matters. Come on, let's talk about it. Welcome to High School Matters, the podcast dedicated to conversations that I have with my former high school students. My name is Randy Appel, and I've been teaching high school since the year 2000. And this podcast really started because during the COVID pandemic, I had all this free time. So I started to reflect. I started to reflect on my life as a parent, as a teacher, and I started to think, how great would it be if I could reconnect with the students that I lost touch with over the years and kind of catch up, talk about high school, talk about things in high school that actually mattered to them then, but also that still matter to them now. And honestly, this podcast took on a life of its own. My conversation today is with a former student of mine named Lisa Hayam. Lisa is currently a successful nutritionist and an even more successful presence on social media with over 100,000 followers. How does that even happen? Like many people who accomplish so much, her road to success was paved with many struggles. Those who follow her get the benefit of learning the methods she employed to change her own life. Today, we will hear about some of her early successes and struggles, starting all the way back to her childhood. Lisa's classmates in high school saw her as a beautiful, popular, athletic, and trendy girl. But as I seem to always find out, a lot more was going on beneath the surface. I hope you enjoy this episode of High School Matters. You ready?
Yeah.
Excited?
Yeah, very.
Are you?
I have no idea what's coming.
Okay. Most people don't. We have probably one of the most unique relationships of anyone I'm talking to. So we're meeting now, but it's not like, hey, Lisa, where have you been? We're friends now. And you invited me to your wedding. And we'll kind of talk about the history of how that happened. It wasn't like we had this relationship in high school that was so great and, there I was.
True.
But I kind of want to start almost backwards in a way and kind of explain our relationship and why I was at your wedding and why I call you a friend and not really an old student.
Yes, and I still call you Mr. Appel.
You still?
So I cannot call you by your first name, which makes the friendship really weird.
You know what's funny about you calling me Mr. Appel? You were the first person, and I remember this in high school, to ever call me Mr. Apple.
I'm so funny.
Yeah, it was actually your quirkiness.
Intentional. Right.
That's it. But your quirkiness was kind of what made you in high school.
Yeah.
So our relationship kind of ended when you left high school, like it does with most students.
Right.
Then, many years later, you called me because you wanted to be a nutritionist, and you needed help with chemistry.
Right.
And that's kind of where our relationship kind of blossomed into, like I said, I truly think of you as a friend.
Yeah, we put in a lot of hours as a young adult post-college, which shaped the relationship to become a friend. I would not be here today doing what I do without your tutoring.
Okay, so that's kind of how we got to this very moment right now. But I actually didn't know you much in high school. So I do want to get back to that moment. But I want to start actually with something you said recently.
Okay.
I was talking about who some of the other classmates of yours or old students that I was talking to, and you made some comment about how, wow, my life is so boring compared to all those people.
Yeah.
And then you said, I'm so white and privileged, it hurts. And, the Lisa I knew in high school, I can't imagine her saying that, looking back. But could you explain that comment coming from the Lisa of 2020?
Yeah, well, in high school, your reality is only as big as the small radius around you. So, everybody where we grew up was, the same socioeconomic class. They all looked like me. When you leave the world, not that I went very far. I went to University of Miami.
Got it.
And then, went to Columbia for grad school. I wouldn't say that I explored the world in any way, but, if you look around enough and you're introspective enough, you can see that I think a lot of like my personal struggles are very regular, but you've just spoken to such people that have gone through such major things. So I don't know. I think you gain, hopefully as you grow, you gain self-awareness, and hopefully as you gain self-awareness, you're able to speak to reality. And I think that's reality.
Okay. Listen, you say that, and I remember being in your house tutoring you in chem, and we would sit at the kitchen table and there'd be, the Atlantic Ocean in the background with the Throgs Neck Bridge in the background. Like, you just came from a lot of privilege and wealth.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, my family never talked about money. Like, we had houses on the water, and that was obviously, I could tell that was a good thing for real estate. But other than that, in our home, like, my dad always taught us not to count other people's money, and he never really talked about money otherwise. I mean, obviously, all the privilege that was built into going to college and grad school and all that was very there. But
right.
Other than that, it wasn't like, here's a credit card, go spend. It was actually very much the opposite, where many of my friends could, have the credit card and go spend, and I was on, I don't know, some much more of a like tighter allowance, which I appreciate because it gave me some sense of go out in the world and do something for yourself, like, right. Create a life for yourself. And I don't think, I might be white and privileged, but I don't feel entitled. So wait, sorry, let me back up for a second.
Sure.
To also shape the audience. My parents were divorced, and
right.
My mom moved to the other side of Great Neck, which was not Kings Point where we were, right? So she moved to Baker Hill, which was like a lot more chill, for lack of a better word. Like,
okay.
Wasn't, just different style of houses next to each other, where Kings Point was like a lot more. Hopefully everyone listening here went to Great Neck North, so they have like some context.
I hope not only, but yeah. No, but you're right. Kings Point was filled with mansions and multi-million-dollar homes, and the rest of Great Neck was filled with a range from mansions down to very small homes, and there was a
normal homes,
but even small.
Okay,
like there were like there's a big range in Great Neck. That's the interesting thing about Great Neck. And I guess what you're saying is your dad lived in this mansion on the water, and your mom, after they divorced, lived in a smaller but still nice house in a different part of Great Neck.
Well, I was joint custody, so like you came to my house where my dad lived, but like
right.
keep in mind that like, well, if my dad was dropping me off in a Mercedes, my mom was picking me up in a Nissan. Just choice.
Choice by your mom.
Yeah. So that gave me some reference and again, we never talked money in my home, so it wasn't like, no one's like, you're good, It was just like, I don't know, do I have this type of money or do I have this type of money? It was 50% of the time. So
wow.
I never grew up thinking like really anything. And that, I guess, gave me some humility. And most importantly, I think like a self-worth that wasn't attached to like cars or like fancy stuff, because... Yeah.
It's interesting because I didn't really get that context, because I remember when I pulled up to your house, like, your dad owns a Ferrari dealership and he drove a Mercedes. I think he owned a Mercedes dealership.
Yeah.
I actually think I remember that. So it's interesting that you lived this life in Great Neck as this, almost dual personality in a way.
Yeah, and that I think was like kind of confusing as to who I was, like even identity-wise. Like my dad was always like, tomboys are cool, and then my mom was always like, girly girls are cool. So my dad was like, play sports, and my mom was like, do ballet, and then I was like, I don't know what I am. Like,
wow.
What am I?
Wow, that's very interesting. I did not know that.
And my older brother Greg, who is 5 years older than me, was really like shaping in who I am, and like he. From the moment he was born, was not impressed by cars or money or anything.
Oh,
and
really?
like, he was my older brother. So he was always influencing me like, that stuff isn't cool. Like, don't do that.
Really?
So that was always, in the back of my mind. And so I don't know. I don't think I ever like led with that. You don't need to show everybody everything at once. Like
right.
Let them learn about you. And
you're not defined by your car or whatever else you have.
Especially living in Great Neck, where so many people, our parking lot, like, which was like normal to us, me then, is
right.
like the craziest thing looking back. I mean, it was all Mercedes my year and all BMWs and
Range Rovers, BMWs.
It was crazy.
And you're talking about the teacher parking lot, right? Right, it's crazy when you think like, when you pull up to Great Neck,
really
which
sad.
is the teacher parking lot and which is the kid parking lot by the $50,000 gap in average car price.
But it came with what I saw, a lot of like not outright disrespect that a lot of the students had for the teachers, but like a level of disrespect that I hope when I have children won't treat their teachers like.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
I just remember even like being at the bagel store and the way the students would talk to the bagel, like some of the students would speak to the people demanding the bagel, and there was just like this thing in my mind that was just like, ugh, this is like really ugly. Don't be like, because a lot of them too are immigrant families. So like my family is America for like at least like 4 generations back. I've got like no culture to me.
That's okay.
A little off track, but
no, but you know what? It does bring you back to the comment you made about being so white and privileged that it hurts. Like you no, as a kid from like your early days in elementary school to your life now, that almost you were a great neck kid. So like even though you weren't the quote unquote typical great neck kid, in some ways you were in terms of what you had.
Yeah, and there's a lot that people don't know that I think gave me some like perspective. It wasn't just, yes, I'm white and privileged, but I've also experienced like real world things that can be challenging.
I want to talk, and that's what I do want to talk about. A lot of these things shape who you are, and whatever they are, they shape who you are. So let's, and then maybe you have a different idea of what you're talking about, but your parents were divorced at what age?
6.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's young.
Mm-hmm.
So at 6, what happened? Do you remember?
So at 6, I remember, first grade or so, they got separated. And I don't have any memories of them like together. So I think
no
that's
memories
more
of fighting in the house?
Memories of fighting, yeah. I have some memories of fighting, but no memories of not fighting.
Oh, really?
I don't have any memories of like my original family contained in any other setting besides fighting.
So you have no happy memories of your parents?
My dad
together?
And my mom, no.
Together, right?
Nope.
Your dad and your mom?
Nope.
Wow, that's... For a kid that on its own, that's troubling and sad.
Yeah.
So then at 6, they separated.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
So they separated, and my mom, interestingly enough, was kosher before she met my dad. Grew up like a religious Jew.
Oh, really?
From the 5 towns.
Five Towns, that's where I'm from.
Yeah, actually.
I think I remember that, actually. Okay.
Yeah. I think you guys are around the same age. So my mom, when she met my dad, I don't understand the world that they lived in, but they decided to get married without talking about what life married would be like. So like they got married, and then my mom was like unpacking her kosher dishes, her meat and her dairy, and my dad was like, "What are you doing?" And
what?
Yeah, and she was like, "I'm setting up our kosher home," and my dad's like, "What? We're not going to be kosher." And my mom's like, "We're not," and then completely abandoned everything she knew from growing up, and wanted to preserve the marriage and keep peace, I guess.
How old were they when they got married?
My
it
mom,
sounds very young.
Yeah,
like,
my
it
mom
sounds
was
like...
not terribly young. My mom was probably 23.
Okay,
and then my dad was like probably 28. I think they were 5 years apart.
Okay.
So they were together for 23 years.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not. Oh my God. Okay. Oh, right. Because you do have 2 older brothers. Okay.
Yes,
got it.
One's 5 years older than me. One's 13 years older than me.
Yeah, that's a 13-year age difference is big.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So just to shape what happened when they got divorced is, my mom, even though she was 23, like it was a different time. She didn't go off to college. She went to Hofstra, which is local to here. Like she didn't go out and see the world. So I think she just reverted back to what she knew, which was life before my dad, which was religion. So yeah, this kind of shapes too, like the dual lives that I was living in. It was like very extreme and confusing. So my mom went back to being religious, kosher, 2 dishwashers, 2 whatever, and my dad's house was just like a full-on free-for-all. Could eat whatever we want, whenever we wanted it. I had no rules, whatever. At my mom's, I had rules and all that stuff. So that was super confusing.
I'm sure, yeah.
And it was like every 4 days. So like I was kosher for 4 days, and then I wasn't kosher.
Oh, so what was the arrangement? Like, how did you
I think it was like 4 days, and then
like
3
Monday
days.
through Thursday at your dad's or mom's?
Whatever it was the most confusing thing that you could not even like keep up with.
Yeah, I mean, any divorce situation, I've never heard of a situation where it's like, oh, this worked great. It's always terrible.
It was as good as it got from a like them getting along point of view.
Oh, was that right? Oh, that's good.
For a long time, yeah. There's been like bumps throughout the years, but like the most confusing part was the back and forth, and I mean, as a student, it was very hard to excel when you're doing that.
So, okay, so when did it become hard as a student? Like
probably middle school would I remember, like when you're taking exams and stuff, and it like
where to keep your books.
That was the thing. It was because we had like textbooks then. Kids probably don't have textbooks now. Do we have textbooks?
We don't have the textbooks like you had back in the day.
You don't? Okay.
Well, it's different. There's online textbooks and everything's on Google Classroom. It makes the life of a divorced kid much easier.
I mean, again, going back to like the fact that like money wasn't a problem for like a $40 textbook. Like, could someone just get me a second textbust so I don't have to like be at my dad's, I don't have my textbook, maybe my mom's, I don't have my dad, or like 2 pairs of like clothing where like I like to wear the same pair of pants, things just kind of got, I think when I started to care about like what I was wearing, which was like middle school and the books, and it was just like this crazy back and forth, and I really didn't get along with my mom during those years because my dad's house was the fun house. So to go back to my dad,
the fun house, the big house on the water, the house with the Mercedes, no rules.
My brother was there. My brother Greg was there. He didn't do the joint custody thing.
Oh.
So when it was my mom, it was just me and my mom in this kosher house that like,
wow. Very structured, strict, and not what a kid wants.
Not what a kid wants.
When they have the other option right there.
Right. So my dad started dating this girl.
Well, yeah, because that's the other thing I remember about you, and I know your family now, so it's not a secret to me. But
there was never a secret. So
no, but I'm saying your dad dated a much younger woman.
Yeah. So I mean, when I was younger, I couldn't see it from an adult point of view. I could only see it for me. So when I was, I don't know, a few years after them getting divorced, he started seeing this woman who's 30 years younger than him.
30 years. Okay. I wasn't sure the age difference. Okay. How old are you?
Right now?
Yeah.
Right. How old am I?
Right now.
32.
It's just crazy. Like
oh yeah.
The 30-year age difference when you're 32, it's like you were 2 when whatever. Okay. It's just crazy, right? Like
yeah. So she came into my life when she was around 18, 19.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. 18, 19. That is unbelievable.
But I was like 7, 8. So like when you're like, when I ask my niece how old I am, who's 6, she's like 59. Like you don't know how old somebody, like an adult is just like an adult to you. Like I knew she was like fun and like pretty and would take me shopping and like whatever, and she was really good with my mom actually, and like soothed that relationship. So yeah, so that was a dynamic that my dad ended up marrying her and so forth.
Right. Wow. Okay. I'm a little, I knew, like I said, I know your dad and I know your stepmom, but like the 30-year age difference at that age, like that is, just to put in perspective, I'm 40, I'll be 44 in a month.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, do the math.
Yeah, I get it.
14, that's like a freshman in high school.
Yeah.
Right? And then just add 5 years to that, and it's like me in 5 years with a newly graduated senior.
Yeah, and I don't know how to explain it because I know there's like probably lots of like assumptions being like made if you just listen to this, but they worked really well.
Oh yeah, and I when I say it, I'm more just shocked by the age difference and how young she was. But yeah,
she had already gone through a lot of real world stuff in her life, and she was very like mature for her age. So somewhere along the way, they just like worked, I would say.
And they probably offered each other what they both needed at that very moment.
Yeah, and
and they're still married. So
yes.
Okay. Did it ever get weird with you said the divorce kind of weighed on you a little bit. Mm-hmm. When did it really start weighing on you more than just like, oh, it's annoying being at this house or that house?
Yeah, 9th grade for sure. Like
Ninth grade, once I
got to high school, it was like too much with the back and forth. It was just super confusing. And my mom like gave me up, if you will.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so my mom said like, I want my daughter to be happy. She's happier with you. Go live there.
Was that a purely like, I'm being a mom and I want what's best for my daughter thing there?
Yeah, I think if she were here, she would say that I want to preserve the relationship with my daughter and she's happier there. And it was a very selfless thing to do. Right,
it sounds it. But then I'm thinking of like a 9th or 10th grader, and it's almost like, did you feel like your mom abandoned you in a way?
No. If anything, I appreciated it.
Oh, you did appreciate
what she was still like doing. Picking me up from school and like doing some mom things.
You just lived at your dad's full time, so you weren't this confused child.
Right.
Okay, and it's important that you understood that at the time, because it could be interpreted almost in a different way if you were a different kind of person.
Yeah, no, I need like I had no stability. I needed stability. There was no way for me to do well in school or like socially. And I don't know I don't remember what instance kind of propelled this forward. My mom probably does because it was, really hard for her. But, looking back, I appreciate her doing it.
Right. It sounds like a very nice act. Okay. So then you're a 10th grader? Is that when you started living with your dad?
Like
9th grade?
9th,
10th grade?
10th, yeah.
Okay. So did you feel like a sense at that point like, wow, life is finally making sense? Or were you more confused?
No, life was making sense, and I had.
Had your dad at that point married the young woman?
Yeah, in 8th grade, I think he married her.
Oh, so when you were in 8th grade?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were together for a long time before they got married. I mean, pretty much all of elementary school. Everybody knew her, and it was a long time until they got married. I think my brother wanted to graduate high school for whatever reason.
I'm having a memory, and I don't know if it's accurate, but was your college essay about your stepmom? Do you remember? You don't remember? Mm-mm. Okay, you don't even remember. Okay.
Could have been.
I wondered what it was like to be a kid with parents or stepmom that's that much of an age gap, type thing.
Yeah, and none of my parents were really parents. That's what it really comes down to.
Oh, mom, dad, stepmom.
So now we're in like 10th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah. So by the time we're there, my stepmom, so I started living with my mom and dad, and then my stepmom got pregnant with, that was like 11th grade or so. But somewhere in there, she got pregnant with Max, who's my little brother, who's not so little anymore.
Not so little. The biggest gamer in Long Island.
Biggest gamer in Long Island. And that started to transition things because like our family unit, which was always my brothers, Garrett, Greg, Lisa, my dad, Stuart, my mom, Lorna, my stepmom, it was transitioning into this other unit. So there was not a lot of,
supervision.
Not a lot of supervision, but like I said, like my brother Greg always had a really big influence on me. So I never wanted to be, for lack of a better word, like slutty or like do drugs or, be that person. I was drinking alcohol in high school, but not like, I kept myself in some sort of box and parameters, even though all that was going on.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you know, okay, so you're 11th grader, your stepmom is now pregnant.
I lived in 3 houses in high school with my dad.
Oh, he moved that often?
Yeah. So
not including the Florida house?
No.
Oh my God.
At least 3 3.
Okay, so that's very nomadic of you.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to say though is, did you know junior year when your stepmom got pregnant that your life was about to change?
Well, yeah. No, I was really pissed when I found out she was going to have Max.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yeah,
Why?
Really pissed. Because I was the youngest and I liked being the youngest. And I was the youngest girl. Like, if Max was a girl, it would be a really big problem. Because I've always been the youngest girl. And it all worked out.
Yeah, of course.
Max is fantastic. And, my dad's a hands-on parent and Terry and everything works.
Right.
But I remember just thinking, like, this doesn't make any sense.
Right. So your dad's kind of not around. Your stepmom's kind of not around. Mm-hmm. You're in this house. Did you have a housekeeper? Did your brother live with you? Like,
yeah,
what was the? I mean,
I've had a housekeeper.
A junior in high school with all this freedom, it almost lends itself to bad stuff.
Yeah,
in many ways.
I think my friends and boyfriends actually were kind of just like my anchors, which is why, like, I mean, I love my family, but like I have a small group of people that are not at all the same people that I like held on to then, but I've always had anchors around me who are not my family that like help me get through things.
You seek them out?
Not like with that level of consciousness, but like maybe I attract them and they attract me. Like,
right.
I mean, Ian Lerner was my first boyfriend. He was 3 years older than me. He cheated on me a lot, but it was like a really meaningful relationship at the time. Yeah.
You were a freshman?
I was a freshman and
he was a junior?
Yeah.
And then you stayed with him?
No. We broke up, but it was like, your first love is like...
So he was your first love?
He was my first love,
okay.
Yeah, which is hilarious for me.
Well, it's funny because...
Well, then we went to college together.
I know Ian Lerner and I know your current husband, and you clearly did not want the same characters in your husband as your first love.
Yeah.
It's funny.
But I always had like a relationship after that. Then I had another boyfriend in high school. And like,
oh, you did?
Yeah, and it was just
always older guys?
A year older.
A year older.
Yeah.
Okay. In high school?
Yeah.
Who?
Nathaniel.
Oh, he was a nice kid, no?
A very nice kid.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah. So I always had like these like anchoring people there for that. Like we weren't living like normal high school relationships. I feel like
right.
There was too much freedom.
Yeah, you had to grow up really fast. And I don't know if that, growing up happened in middle school or high school, but you had to be the girl who was in charge of her own life in a way.
Yeah, I was. And therefore, like a lot of things fell through the cracks. Like I feel like I'd be so embarrassed to like see how my college applications were like written with like my hand. You know my handwriting?
You do.
I have the worst
I do remember
handwriting.
you really have the worst handwriting. Not just for a girl, but for anyone.
I feel like you used to like rip up my papers because they were so bad.
Wow, that's so, what is that about?
I don't know. Is it too late to learn?
I think it might be. Because I have bad handwriting too. My whole life I've had bad handwriting. And even Beth, my wife, has bad handwriting.
But not like
But
me.
yours is like, you write like not even like a doctor. Like it was just like almost like a 3-year-old.
Right, so no one taught me how to write.
Wow, that's so fascinating.
Yeah, so things were dropped in the mix, and that one of them was my handwriting.
Wow, you were so forgotten as a 6-year-old when
Yeah.
you're going through.
Actually.
Interestingly, right? Oh my God. Wow.
It's a sign of my pain.
Yeah, right? Oh my God. Right? And you kept it forever.
Kept it forever.
Oh my God.
It's a sign of the internal struggle.
Yeah. Holy, very symbolic.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're the junior who has all this freedom. I know you weren't the girl with the parties because I know Matt Shurka was the guy with the parties.
Matt Shurka had the big parties. I had one party.
Did you?
I think that went down in history, yeah.
Was it good?
It was good. I don't remember it that well, but it was good.
But it went down in history, meaning it was...
The police came. If it's a good party, the police came, right? But like Eric Horowitz handled it. He talked
did he
to
really?
them. Yeah.
Right, because when I was talking to Matt, I remember his house
parties.
Was the party house.
Yeah, he had a great house for parties.
Okay, so you had one party, police came. Did you feel like... I don't know. What was the mind of Lisa at that time?
I don't know. I must have been more confused than I let on. I feel like there were some warning signs, but I was like my relationship to food was getting a little weird.
What do you mean?
Just getting a little obsessive with trying to be healthy and skinny, even though I was always skinny.
You were always very skinny. I always remember you were very skinny. Not like. I didn't know. Maybe there's something behind it, but you were just very skinny.
Yeah, I was always skinny, but that was always natural. But then I don't know, it was probably an attention-seeking behaviors that were going on. Never extreme enough to warrant intervention or things like that. It went unnoticed for a very long time.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Wait, what do you mean unnoticed? There was an issue?
My own issue, yeah.
You had your own issue?
Yes, much later in life.
But not in high school?
I mean, that was the onset. I mean, we grew up in Great Neck where it was very normalized to do weird things like scoop out your bagel. You probably do that.
I do it now.
You have your own. So a lot of that's a weird behavior.
Is it?
Yeah.
Scooping out a bagel?
Yeah.
To me, that's a normal behavior.
Right, but run that by anyone not from Long Island and they are their jaw drops why are you
really?
Scooping out the
What?
bagel? Yeah. So it's a very, what I do now as a nutritionist is help people form healthy relationships to food and learn to listen to their body and, focus on bigger things in life than, just scooping out their bagels.
Right. So, and I want to get to where you are now because I think it's clear. I didn't know exactly what the issue that led you to be a nutritionist. I didn't know there was serious issues. I know.
So some of my if I had to early psychoanalyze myself, there we go, psychoanalyze myself. My stepmom was young and pretty, and it's possible that I saw that as a way to be relevant. So to get attention, to I only recently was whoa. There's something there.
Oh, that is interesting. Yeah, it's funny. I didn't. When you think of your dad marrying this young, beautiful woman, I thought of it from the eyes of Lisa, but not as I want to be beautiful too, and I want to worry about my body. I don't know.
And it wasn't conscious,
right?
That living in the world that we live, it was also normalized. These you still think they're normal, things that we do, scooping out your bagel and drinking, Diet Coke, and there's a lot of little diety behaviors that are normalized under the guise of
health.
Being healthy and being and weight loss are kind of two separate things. They don't have to be, but no matter what you were doing, scoop out your bagel, always go for at the time Diet Coke, skim milk, all those things. Okay. But they plant the seed in your mind that if you're not doing those things, you're going to gain weight. And if your body's going to change, and everybody was always complimenting me on how skinny I was, which was natural. And then
So
I
it's a
never wanted
vicious
to lose
cycle
it,
in a way.
I guess. I was scared to lose that, especially as I was becoming a teenager and my body was starting to, I just was changing on me. I wasn't 13 anymore.
Right.
So I guess scary when your body starts to change as a young person and nobody's having those conversations with you that your body should be changing.
Right, you had no one at home to talk to.
Yeah, nobody was having those conversations with me.
So when you
and there wasn't social media then, and I don't know if
probably
that would
makes
help.
it worse.
Yeah.
I don't
know.
Thank God there was no social media back then.
I guess I couldn't Google things. I don't know.
Okay,
Again,
I hear you, which might have been worse too.
Again, yeah, true.
But we'll talk about how that relationship with food changed your life, because in many ways you are now a nutritionist / whatever. You'll tell me exactly what you are or what you're called.
I don't know what I am, but we'll try and figure that out together.
That's it. Talk about what happened with your relationship with food in high school or in senior year or whenever it really started and how it progressed.
What did we have? What was that thing called? The fashion show?
Yes.
Yeah, I had some good dance moves. I don't know. There was something about that the culture around that was so you were going to be on stage and wear a skimpy outfit and wanted to look good and
And it was a very big event in high school.
Yeah, it was
paid event.
Paid?
It was a paid event. It always sold out. It was 2 nights. Friday and Saturday night.
I got paid as a dancer?
No. The school, our class got paid.
My pimp got paid? Somebody else got money for my work?
That's it, exactly. So no, what I'm saying is it was I understand the pressure you felt to look your best at that moment.
Yeah, so there was attempts to starve yourself, which was very normal.
Is that right?
Attempts. I mean, I was never quote unquote good at it, could never whatever. But no, I do remember so that was senior year?
Senior year? Well, you could have done it many years, but senior year is when...
I think that was the only year I did.
Okay, so you did it, fashion show senior year is when you started to really focus and obsess over food?
Yeah, under the guise of health.
Guise of health and guise of I want to look good for fashion show.
Yeah, that's probably what's my earliest memory of trying to do something.
So, did you do anything? So you starved yourself a bit, but you weren't good at it. But you scooped out bagels and you drank Diet Coke. Anything else?
No, not at that point.
That was okay. So when you say not at that point, go on.
So then I went to college and I went to Florida State my freshman year before I went to University of Miami.
Oh, you did? I didn't know that. Yeah. I don't remember that.
Well, because nobody helped me write my college essay and my handwriting was so bad that University of Miami was we're not going to let this idiot in.
It's weird because some people, hire tutors. This person hired their 4-year-old nephew.
Exactly. So, in high school I didn't have any tools to study. I didn't have to study. I didn't know how to study or didn't have anyone making me study. So I did decent in school. I was a B student.
Okay.
Which
kind of remember that. Yeah.
Thanks.
No, because I know you after school and you did well. But I remember in school, in high school even.
Well, I guess there was a little bit of entitlement there actually, where I thought that I was a shoo-in to University of Miami because my dad went there and my brother went there, and I think my dad kind of chalked it up to you'll get in.
Right. I'll make sure you get in.
So that was actually the most devastating, humbling, yet shaping experiences when I didn't get in. To the point,
really?
Yeah, because I only applied to Miami.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You just were so confident so misguided in a way.
Confident, misguided, and I think from that experience, I learned that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And every rejection or failure has shaped me, or being dumped even, any of those rock bottom moments. And I know
that you feel like the world is ending.
Ending. When I didn't get into Miami, I remember I got in my car, I think I hit a curb or something. And it was it was so flustered, frazzled, felt like it was over for me.
Right.
And then whatever happens next works out really perfectly.
And these moments, like you said, these rejections shape who you are.
Yep.
So
that's where it starts.
That's where it starts.
A lot of people and that go to North, I'd say.
Good. Okay.
I applied to FSU, Florida State, because it was in Florida, and I really wanted to go to Florida. I applied to GW. I applied, which was a much more people like me school.
Yeah.
But I visited Florida because I got in, and it's in Tallahassee. It's very far from Miami.
Yeah, right.
And despite being only Florida kids, you think okay, it's America, it's very culturally different, especially our school's mostly Jewish, but not a lot of Jewish people there.
Not in Florida State, yeah.
So it was actually so important that I spent a year there, kind of seeing what more of America looks like, if you will.
People talk about the bubble of Great Neck, and a lot of places are still allow you to be in that bubble. Florida State did not allow you to be in that bubble.
Yeah,
okay.
So that was a pretty critical year for me, as well as learning how to work hard for something that I wanted, once I got there, like I met amazing people. It was a great, a really important year for me, but I wanted to get out. So
You did, okay.
I realized, okay, can't, not going to just get into Miami this time. So if I want to get there, I need to work to get there.
Right.
So I learned how to study and to, work really hard for something. And I was able to transfer after the first year. And that was the first thing that I did for myself.
You transferred to Miami.
Yeah, but I had to put in the work to transfer for Miami, and I knew that I was only going to get A's because I couldn't.
You had to
get out.
But you did it, and that's the thing. You did it.
Yeah.
Nobody did it for you.
Nobody did
you
it for
did
me.
It.
I think I probably filled out the transfer application online, so
Thank
they
God.
didn't see my handwriting.
Your 4-year-old nephew handwriting didn't have to come through
my
again.
foot writing, someone used to call it.
What is it?
Someone used to call it my foot writing because it looked like I wrote it with my feet.
It looked like a human wrote it with their feet.
Yeah.
Your regular handwriting with your hands.
Yeah,
is actually
but when
right.
I remember when I got to Florida State and they were like, okay, what do you want to major in? And I was like, I don't know. No one ever asked me what I want to do with my life. I was like, I'm interested in nutrition. And they're like, okay. I remember this was at orientation. And I was like, okay. They're like, so the classes you have to take for that are chemistry, biochemistry, biology, whatever. And I was like, I did not come to college to take chemistry again. So if you go back to 11th grade, I had Miss Afkami. I don't know if she's still around.
She's still around.
And we did not get along, and I could not wrap my head around chemistry. I could do biology, right?
Yeah.
That's what I did. I could do earth science. I could do the...
Well, you had an amazing biology teacher.
Right. Always being annoying and flicking our pens out of our hands in the middle of tests.
Is that what I did?
Yeah, just irritating things to everyone.
The good old days.
Yeah. Do you not do that anymore?
I probably do other equally irritating things, but I don't think I flick pens out of kids' hands anymore.
You would just rip up tests in the middle of nowhere and be like, okay, you're done.
Really? Did I do that?
Yeah, you would just mess with us so much.
Kids,
you'd probably give the test back, but
of course.
And you'd have to fight for it. It's you really kept it spicy in 45 minutes of a period.
Isn't that important, right?
Very, yeah.
Okay, good.
Memorable. I can't remember anything else.
That's it.
So I was like, okay, well, hell no. I'm not doing chemistry because I'm going to fail and I'm going to spend all my time studying, and I came to college to have fun and whatever. So I did fashion, which I was interested in for a minute. Yeah. So anyway, got out of FSU, went to Miami, and while I'm studying abroad, which is 11th grade, I did semester at sea where you go around the world. So that was where I got to see some of the world and definitely shaped, back to your original question, 6 months living on a boat, going to 13 countries,
Wow.
Seeing poverty and how it's a super important thing, I think, to experience and see, because you can't come back to Great Neck, let alone Miami, and feel the same going to clubs and
yeah.
After you see the world, you can't come back and go buy, be at a table where people are buying bottles. Not that people do that now, I don't think. But that was the thing when I was in college.
Right.
Where these 20-year-old kids were spending $5,000 a night on bottles. And after I'd just been to India, I was just no, I can't. This feels so strange to me. Okay. So I went to Miami, and they did not have a nutrition program even. I was still interested in fashion and psychology and communication, other things. Mm-hmm. And I remember studying abroad and thinking, okay, in a year from now, I'm going to graduate and I'm going to have to get a job. And I don't want to do anything that I've learned about thus far. Okay. I think when I went to Miami, I was a communications and psychology double major. And I just wasn't passionate about it. And I was well, I'm still really interested in nutrition. At that point, I was vegan.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
In college? In
college. Again, kind of we were talking about, it was this whole food issue.
But healthy vegan? Or
Sort of. So it's something called orthorexia, which is
Orthorexia? That's a disorder?
Yes.
Because I hear rexia and I think of anorexia.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So it's not really known then, but it is a disorder where you are obsessed with healthy food, so you're eating, but you're only eating certain foods. So each case may display itself differently. Some people might be doing green juice or raw, or now we're seeing people young girls only eating paleo or things like that. Mine was veganism at the time. But I know it's really confusing.
It's complex. Confusing, and you're a professional now, so I want to just stop you for a moment and talk about that just for a little bit.
Yes.
I watch Real Time with Bill Maher. I don't know if you watch the show, and he talks about how fat shaming is good. And he doesn't really say fat shaming is good, but the context of what he's saying is we're so sensitive. If someone smokes cigarettes, we're idiot, stop smoking.
Right.
But if someone is sitting on the couch with a bag of Doritos, or Oreos or all the things that, you taught me this. Anything in the middle of the supermarket, right?
Okay,
All those things, right? You taught me like the outside of the supermarket is more like the healthier stuff and the inside is more the processed stuff.
Right.
Right? So, you're sitting on a couch with a bag of Doritos and you're chubby. And if someone said to you, you're an idiot, like get those chips out of your hands, that's offensive.
Yeah.
But then you're telling me that someone that's obsessed with eating healthy has a disorder. Is there a balance?
For sure. And going back to kind of like you're comparing that to cigarettes, there's a direct correlation between cigarette smoking and lung cancer, right? Whereas when it comes to being overweight, there's a lot of issues with A, how we classify people as overweight, and B, there might be a correlation, as you might know, between being overweight and risk of disease, but it's not causation. So it's not direct. Because you are overweight, you are going to get a disease.
But you're more likely, right? If you smoke, you're not definitely going to get lung cancer, but if you overeat and you eat the wrong foods and you start getting fat, quote unquote, right? Whatever the BMI is, overweight. Aren't you then also going to be at higher risk for diabetes and all these other cardiovascular disorders?
You're at higher risk, but you need to take into consideration, I think, the most important thing, which is the fact that dieting becomes an independent risk factor because A, it doesn't work, and B, you end up weight cycling. So how many people do you know actually lose weight and then they don't go back up again?
Very rare.
Right. So the weight cycling on its own is the thing. So when you shame somebody into losing weight, you are causing likely an eating disorder of some shape or form, really negative self-esteem, and causing an independent risk factor for those diseases.
You mean because they're going to then, if they do what you're hoping, they go on a diet for like 3 weeks, lose weight, but then they're going to go back and eat more or just mess up their body in another way.
Restriction doesn't work. We don't do well with that psychologically and physically. Yes. It ends up either as binges or some sort of other situation. So we need to really take an overview look at how can we help people be healthier. And the answer to that, in my opinion, is to help people establish healthy habits, which may not mean directly losing weight. It's helping people find what's called their set point, which is a theory that says that each person has a genetically determined weight range, which is actually somewhere between 5 and 20 pounds. So it's not as, tight as people may think.
Okay.
And when you are in that range, your weight is not going up and down. You can, people will say, I eat a cupcake and I gain weight.
No, that's silly.
But women say things like that, or men say things like that. No, men too. I don't know why I said just women. I've heard it from actually everybody.
Everybody.
And I think actually men go through their own thing without getting any help because all the attention's now on women. Anyway, so when somebody says that, like it's clear to me that they're living below possibly their set point, because if you're gonna if you're gonna gain 10 pounds from eating a cupcake or two, then you're not in the place where your body can level out.
Got it. Okay.
So teaching healthy habits, healthy behaviors, and coming from a place of self-care versus self-hate is very different. And that's why the shame factor should never be on the table.
Got it. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Okay. So you had orthorexia, which means you were focused on being vegan?
For me, it was veganism at the time. And there's not, just to be super clear, you can be vegan and have a healthy relationship to food.
Right.
At that time in my life,
you were not healthy.
Yeah. So I restricted all these foods. And then, so basically what happened before that was when I went to college, I wanted to be thin, but there were so many choices. You'd go to sit down to eat dinner and I didn't know what I wanted. I could have chicken, but it has to be grilled chicken. This whole thing. So when I became vegan, it just simplified everything. I didn't have to think anymore. So it was okay, what's in that cake? Oh, it has eggs, can't eat it. What's in that soup? Chicken stock, can't have it. And so everything became, I didn't have to think so much, and it was so tiring to think so much.
Right.
When I was trying to be
yes, I get it.
A certain way.
Absolutely.
And things started to work out, my digestion was better and I had energy when I was eating vegan. So I thought that vegan was the healthiest thing for me. And thank God I didn't become a dietitian at that point, because I would have just pushed that approach on everybody.
People to veganism. Got it.
Where I believe in an individual approach to helping people learn to listen to their bodies.
Right, for me, veganism wouldn't work, but for your husband, for example, he's a big vegan.
He's a big vegan.
He's a thin vegan, but he's a vegan.
Big vegan, yeah. So for Evan, it's something he's passionate about, which is, a funny part of kind of my story. And
does he have orthorexia?
No.
He doesn't. You truly believe.
Yeah, no,
Okay, good.
Evan has such a healthy relationship to food because a big portion of having orthorexia is the obsessive nature with controlling your food and obsessive thoughts, the preoccupation about food, what you eat, what you will be eating, what you did eat, what the repercussions are. It usually goes hand in hand with exercise addiction, or for me it did. There was a portion of my life for that. I used laxative abuse. It was a whole,
really?
Yeah, it was all about weight or body image stuff. That kind of tied into that, where Evan is just, he doesn't think about things like that at all. I mean, his pasta's his favorite food. He eats it every single night. He has a beautiful relationship to food where, like, if he's hungry, he eats, and if he's not, he really doesn't. It's
amazing to hear you say he has a beautiful relationship with food, but I totally get what you're saying. Like, if he's hungry, he eats. Should be such a, obviously, but, no, I get it.
He's completely, dumbfounded by ideas about, intermittent fasting and things. It's
just
By the way,
I intermittent fast.
Of course.
And I think I have a healthy relationship with food. I just eat, you know what, for me, I eat between 12 and 8 for the most part.
Okay.
Not, every moment of my life. Today I talked to someone at 12, so I ate at 11:15 because I didn't want to be hungry.
Good. Right.
So that's a healthy relationship. I wasn't obsessed because, oh my God, I ate before 12, right?
Right. So a lot of people will take these rules too seriously.
Got it.
They'll be inflexible, and then all of a sudden, what starts off as, okay, this feels good, like my veganism started off as feeling good, becomes obsessive, and then all of a sudden, I ate cheese by accident one time and totally freaked out and tried to make myself throw up. It didn't.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, so that's okay. So that's so those are the extremes, but that's the distinction between being a vegan who is a healthy eater versus a vegan who is an unhealthy eater.
An unhealthy relationship, yeah.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it comes down to your intentions and your, are you developing what I call fear foods, fears of other foods? Are you able to be flexible? Does it occupy a lot of your brain space? Which for me was, in college, all I did was think about food.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, so I got it. So in college, you have this disorder.
But I don't know it's a disorder.
You just are obsessed.
Under the guise of health. I want to be a dietitian. I think this is working. You know, I want to just help other people feel this amazing.
Got it. Okay.
I call it my healthy eating high horse because, I was getting applauded. People, how do you have so much discipline and da-da-da. And it was all
and you probably looked good too. Right? I'm saying you were thin, for a woman in this society.
But as you know, I never had, I was always thin, even before
you
this.
Are, right.
So it's this weird thing where it's not like I lost a lot of weight and everybody's like, oh my God, know. It's just the applaud kept coming.
But I imagine people came to you and said, how do you stay so thin?
Right, always.
That's and that's almost like a trigger for you to be
to
continue
thin.
Okay, got it.
Exactly, yeah.
Got it, okay.
Yeah.
So continue on.
So, I really want to be a registered dietitian and I want to help people learn to eat healthy, whatever that means. And I'm like, okay, I need to figure out how to transition. And so I reach out to figure out how to do it. And they're like, okay, well, you need to go back and take chemistry and this and that. And I'm like, oh my God, chemistry again. Can you just let me just move forward without the chemistry?
It's all about chemistry. It always comes down to chemistry.
It always comes down to chemistry. And I'm like, okay. At this point now I've learned to study. I feel more able than I did when I was going into college. And I'm like, I can do this, but I need hands-on help.
Yep.
So I'm like, I know a guy who knows chemistry really well. And I moved back to New York where I'm going to go back to school for grad school for nutrition, but I need to apply first. And in order to apply, I have to go and take chemistry and all these science classes, and I have to get A's in them in order to get into Columbia, which is the only school I wanted. Same as when I only applied to Miami, I made this.
But this time you were doing it, I was going to do what she could to get there.
Yeah, but I'm not an Ivy League person. Most people that were at Columbia, they didn't have to work like I had to work. We met. Do you remember how often we met?
A lot. We
met 2 days a week for 3 hours each.
That's a lot. Yeah.
And that's what I needed to understand chemistry.
Yeah.
But it's so satisfying once you get chemistry. I do not want to ever see it again. I can't remember how to do it. But when you would teach me and I would get it, it was so exciting.
Well, that's the thing about chemistry.
Yeah.
It's impossible till you get it.
Yeah.
And then it's easy.
I don't remember, so I just know that once...
Well, you felt satisfied, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how you came back into the picture, and at that point, I'm a young adult-ish. I'm 22.
Right.
I was dating this boyfriend, Brad, remember?
I remember him, yeah. I remember he came to the house one time when maybe I had Jordan, my youngest daughter. I remember you came over and brought me a gift with Brad.
And that's when we became adult friends, because with 6 hours a week, we'd have to take breaks and talk about other things.
Did you have this orthorexia at the time?
Yeah.
You still, okay, got it.
Yeah, but I still don't know it. Even through grad school, I didn't. Grad school actually reinforced it because you're learning about health and disease, and they have a very old school approach to teaching health and nutrition. So grad school only reinforced it, as well as the time that I was living in. Like, clean eating was very in, and like no sugar, like all these things. And they were, again, all under the guise of health. So I was like, I'm going to be a dietitian. So this is all normal things for me to be doing. Even though like none of my friends were doing things like that, and the health world isn't what it is now either. So this is 10 years ago we're talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
This is 10 years ago. Like I was drinking kombucha and all these things and I was like, cool, but it was like nobody was doing that. And so again, it was the discipline and the applaud and it just my diet kept changing. Like I wasn't vegan anymore, but whatever I was doing kept changing, but I was still not like happy inside with like that whole thing.
Got it. Okay. So then let's keep going.
Okay. So yeah, so I did go to Columbia and got through grad school and then applied to be to be a registered dietitian, you have to do a dietetic internship. And I got rejected from all the internships. It was the next logical step, and you can't move forward without that step. Oh. And I'm already 24, 25 years old, just spent the last 5 years of my life working to get there. And without that in place, you can't do anything. So again, I had to learn the hard way, like how to work hard. And my grades were in place, so I had to build up my resume like around that.
Got it.
So I did a couple of odd jobs, and then I worked at North Shore Hospital, or Northwell now it's called, as a food service worker, where I'm the only white person pretty much, to the point where they think that I'm a spy for administration.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a whole other culture. Like nobody that works in the kitchen, food service, like has a college education or whatever. Yeah, so the second they saw me, like...
They genuinely thought that?
Oh, genuinely, yeah. It was a cultural... situation. Like I remember going for the interview and the woman was like, are you sure you want this job? I came in like dressed up for an interview with I remember a purse and a whatever, and she's like, sees my bag and she's like, are you sure you know what you're doing? And I was like, yeah, and I did it, but I didn't. And so I had to, people that also have worked there for 20 years. Whether I was white or black, they were going to, you have to like be like kind of hazed.
Okay.
It's kind of a weird situation.
Listen, you're starting from the bottom.
And they gave me a really tough time. And I had to, I knew that I needed this job to get this, to have hospital experience working in food and patients and all of that. Right. And I had to make it work. And so I stuck it out. And that was, that along with like FSU were just two of the most shaping times of my life. Right. Because again, I'm leaving my West Village apartment, however many $1,000 a month that it was. I remember I was driving a BMW at the time. I told my dad I have to get rid of it. I got a Kia Soul. Oh, really? I couldn't show up to the hospital in a BMW,
So you were aware of what their perception was of you.
Yeah, and like just felt really wrong. So I got a Kia Soul, which was just really fitting for, as you said, my quirky personality. I had a lot of fun with that, and I had to like you put in an all fireproof pants outfit. Oh wow! It's like in the kitchen, like this vest and a hairnet and a whole thing. So I was like living this dual life between like New York City, my, all the people I knew from Miami and Columbia to, 6 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Listen, you were living a dual life in middle school and elementary school. You could live your dual life back in your I guess mid-20s.
I've always been doing that.
Yeah, for real.
And yeah, it was exciting the day. I think it took over 6 months, but I remember like I earned their respect in the basement. And, again, just...
It says a lot, honestly.
They're the smartest people I've ever met. Huh? So much smarter than everybody I know that went to Michigan and this and that.
I went to Michigan, so maybe not all the people.
Yeah, but you too. The most hardworking, really smart people that just didn't have the same advantages that we did and culture, and they worked so hard. Privilege, yeah. And earning their respect by way of hard work was,
That's great. Okay.
Then I did my internship there. That's where I met my husband.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I got into the internship at that hospital the following year.
I didn't know that. I didn't make that connection. Because we probably in ways lost touch because even ish. I mean, as much as, how old were you at the time? 26?
6, yeah.
Yeah, so like you used me for what you needed me for and then you threw me to the curb.
For sure.
But when did you transition from your orthorexia, whatever eating disorder you had, to your healthy situation you're in now?
Yeah, I'd say around that time. So age 25, 26, 27.
How did that happen? Why did that happen?
Well, I saw a lot of therapists, and nobody would really like call
Why
it.
were you in therapy though?
I've always been in therapy my whole life. I remember in college seeing a therapist specifically because I was like, something's up. I can't sleep. I'm thinking about food. Like, I'm just thinking about food all the time. And
and that really stemmed, you think, from fashion show?
I don't know when it started, but I think with or without that, that's just
where
you
think you would have been there anyway.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
It's just funny because you brought up fashion shows.
Well, it was my earliest memory because I remember like I had like dry skin on my elbow. And I think it was like a nutrient deficiency because I was like trying.
Really?
Yeah, I never lost weight for it or anything, I don't think, or like to my knowledge, but like.
Well,
I was just not.
The thought of you losing weight is just not even a. What are you going to lose?
Yeah. So that's what made me think of. That's the only time I've ever shown a physical symptom of what I never had this like dry skin on my elbow again, other than fashion show.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe, whatever.
So
okay.
I remember going to a therapist in college because I could not stop thinking about food. And she was like, oh, you have anxiety. And it sounds like a form of OCD. So I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense. Because when I was little, I had like all this like weird OCD stuff that also didn't get diagnosed. Like,
even with your therapists?
Yeah, nobody ever called it what it was. But I mean, you could ask all of my girlfriends, Brittany and all of them, like I had to eat things in 2s or 4s or 6s. I had to touch things in a certain amount. I prayed like every hour.
Really?
Yeah, it was really weird. So that was like a symptom of like something probably not right. You know, like, I mean, I'd run up and down a million times to turn the lights off. Like they were like...
Oh, really?
Yeah, so when my therapist was like, sometimes OCD manifests itself in different ways, you know, take this anti-anxiety medication. It was like, oh, okay. I listened to her.
And that's when you got better?
No.
Oh, God. What happened?
It just, you know, I was like, okay, I have anxiety. I don't have a food issue. She didn't tell me I have a food issue. So I just kept going. It was really only until, like, I kind of looked back on my relationship to food that I was like, oh, that was, like, effed up. And a lot of dietitians actually my age around have similar experiences to this, where now orthorexia is a word that many young women know, or if they spend enough time on the internet, they will learn about it, that their feelings will be validated by, oh, this is me. I check these boxes, where that word didn't really exist in my day. So without the diagnosis, I was kind of just left in no man's land.
Okay.
Yeah. So nobody ever diagnosed me.
You self-diagnosed yourself at some point?
Past. Yeah, but
when?
I'd already started to fix. I mean, age 25 or 26, I was just becoming more free with food. And I looked back on how I used to do things, and all of a sudden things sounded like so archaic because I was having a really healthy relationship to food. And I was like, this is weird that I used to do these things. Yeah, and I remember like once the most, like what has really shaped my career was like, all right, you know what, I'm just going to go like all in for a weekend. And I went, you know, all in, ate whatever I wanted, French fries, this, that, whatever. And then Monday I woke up, and instead of like what Mondays used to be, which used to be like, okay, and we're starting over and we're not having sugar and we're not having this, it was like, I really want a salad today. Like, I just want a salad. And I was like, oh, like the body knows. You just have to listen to it. So on social media, I started to talk about my relationship to disordered eating, and it was before being vulnerable was like trendy, if you will. That was just how I knew to be. And so I got a lot of, you know, people that were attracted to that thing, and then a lot of like dietitians who were not attracted, because what I do is an anti-diet approach to nutrition.
What I think attracts people probably to you and your page or whatever it is your honesty. And I could say from someone who knows you, who knew you in high school, but also sat there watching you get married, that
was cool.
Yeah, it is cool. But like, even at your wedding, I remember I'm watching this wedding and I'm like happy to be there because like watching you walk down the aisle and you're not the traditional bride. Like you're dancing and you're like doing silly things. Quirky Lisa, who called me Mr. Apple. And I'm thinking about that girl. And then I see you when you're giving your vows, you break off into song. And it was so beautiful, honestly. And like the whole wedding was beautiful, except for the vegan wedding. I mean, the wedding was vegan.
You did not. Did you like the food or not?
I did like the food.
Okay.
I thought your dad was going to have this amazing sushi platter from Nobu or whatever in Miami. Yeah. But you didn't have it. I do remember, funny story. We didn't know it was going to be a vegan wedding. I don't remember.
We didn't want people to know.
Oh, you didn't want? Okay, that's why. Okay, yeah. Didn't know. So I'm, go into the cocktail hour, and Beth's like, I want a piece of cheese. And I'm like, oh, the cheese is over there. Finally, something that's not vegan. And she eats it, and it was not cheese. What was that?
Did she like it or not?
No, she didn't like it. What was it?
You know, so interesting. We've gotten mostly rave reviews about the food. But
the food was great. I will say, when I ate the meal, I enjoyed it. But the fake cheese, nah.
Okay.
You know, of all the...
Wait, you're going to come over and we're going to do it right. Because the hotel made that cheese plate. So,
oh,
yeah.
So, you know, thinking back to where you are now, and I've talked to people who've had very crazy life experiences and how high school really shaped who they become. And in many ways, I think high school shaped who you became. And I think you think back to some pivotal moments. Maybe we laugh about your handwriting in 6th grade, but that started at the time where your parents got divorced.
Yeah.
Who knows if it means anything.
I'm so glad we made that connection.
Right? How interesting is that?
I could really sleep tonight.
But then we jump ahead and we go to sophomore, junior year where you're living this dual life where you're at mom's house and it's strict and kosher and structured, and then your dad's house where he marries this younger woman and it's very free and very liberating, and you see the dichotomy of your life at that moment. Then you start developing this issue with food, and it kind of, you don't realize it's an issue, but it's an issue, and it takes you through to your mid-20s.
Yeah.
And now you're 32 years old, and you have this very healthy relationship with food, and you seem extremely put together. And one of the things I always find nice about all the people I've spoken to so far is they all like their journey. Do you like your journey?
Yeah, I love my journey. And not that it ends here, because who knows what's in store.
Of course.
But Evan, my husband, has been the most shaping for me in the last 6 years, because even as together as I was, I think the theme was just like I was addicted to chaos, because there was just always chaos in my life in some way, shape, or form. And so I'd bring that into the relationship. And he has shown me how to function without chaos, which creates a safety for me to really be my authentic self, which is why at the wedding I could, thrive the way that I do. So
yeah, so he's totally accepting of the Lisa Hayem who you always wanted to be your whole life and who you want to be right now.
Yeah, but he has helped me get there by not giving up on me in times where I'd bring chaos into the relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. That's great. I mean, again,
I want to throw that in because whenever I talk about the chaos, no matter who I'm talking to, somebody's like, me too. I don't think I have anything, I have maybe a not so traditional growing up, but a lot of people don't have traditional growing up, and a lot of people live in chaos, and they think that their family is the only chaos that exists, and so they spend their whole life trying to cover that up. And not that everybody needs to know your story or that you need to go on social media or tell it all, but just to know that it doesn't have to be that way. I think, that's really what it's about. I'm a registered dietitian and I help people with food, but it's about finding some sort of inner peace despite life being really hard, no matter what.
Right.
Even as being white privileged and it hurting. Yeah,
because I think about that. You that comment is so, you're so white and privileged that it hurts. But yet, do you think there's privileged chaos versus real chaos? I don't know.
There's security. It's not like I ever didn't have food on the table or homes or there were a lot of nets to catch me within, but there was still very much, I think, emotional chaos and trauma. Trauma doesn't have to be, as many people think, rape. You think, okay, I don't deserve to think of myself as trauma, but you can still experience micro trauma, which hits your core deeply. And so my whole philosophy, which is anti-diet, doesn't mean that I'm here, eat Twinkies all day or don't move your body or anything. Right. But it's what intention is that coming from, and how could you do it in a way that it is sustainable and joyful? That's
great. And just to tie it back to high school, and it may not work, is there a moment in high school that you think back to that you think was extremely pivotal to the girl, or the woman, I should say, you've become today?
So this didn't come up so far, but I was in CS.
Oh,
wow. About CS.
You are so not the CS kid.
But I am.
Just to kind of explain, because Great Neck North is a really, I think, special place. I feel very privileged to be able to work there. Talk about privilege and whatever. Yeah. I mean programs like CS, which is this community school where you kind of, what was it?
The English portion of it really helps better explain it, where it was a lot of free writing. So we'd always talk about our feelings and experiences.
Yes,
and I think it's probably where I learned how to write what most people see on Instagram.
Oh, really? So you
Self-express.
attribute the freedom of that course or that that section of school to be.
You were allowed to be weird.
You were allowed to be weird and quirky.
You were allowed to be weird and quirky, and even though I didn't look weird and quirky like the typical person in CS who was dyeing their hair or was gothic or whatever.
That's exactly right. No, that's why when I say you didn't represent the typical CS kid, I don't mean you were this cookie cutter girl, because you clearly weren't. You were quirky. Yeah. You just were. You looked like you weren't quirky.
Right.
And that's probably what makes you special in a way, because you didn't have to do all, not that there's anything wrong with what anyone does, but you kind of, again, you beat to your own drum, whatever the expression is, but you kind of did what you wanted to do, but yet you still kept that quirkiness to you. Wow, so that's interesting. So that really shaped who you became, because writing is a big part of your experience now. Yeah,
free writing. I probably wouldn't do well in an essay, but...
No, well,
but being able to express yourself through words, which is what I do accidentally, and somehow turned it into a job. Right.
I love when I hear the stories like that. That to me is what I like seeing the most. And it was natural. We didn't force this. I was curious. I was asking it. Yeah. You could have said no, actually working in the kitchen of Northwell, that really shaped who I am. But it's great that you're able to come back to not a moment in high school, actually, a place in the school that kind of led you to where you are. So that's great. That's great. Well, this was fun. Did you have fun doing this?
I had so much fun.
Right?
Sorry about the cheese at my wedding.
Listen, that's it.
I put you at the best table, though.
It's very emotional to see someone start their life so happy, and you obviously seeing, not knowing all the details, but knowing who you were in high school, and then seeing you still the same quirky girl and being accepted by your husband was just, who I don't know well at all, but it was nice. And it's funny, I want to say one thing. I don't think I really ever met Evan.
Really?
Yeah, not really. We never really connected yet. Whatever. And I remember going up to you guys at your
He didn't know who you were.
table. No, he did. I think he did. But I'm we're up maybe a drink or two in or whatever. I'm I love you guys. And I remember thinking that's so disingenuous. Yeah. I love you. I'm really happy to be at your wedding, but I don't even know Evan. So I apologize for him for being somewhat disingenuous, but the sentiment was real.
Well, he would understand, because it's not like I had a 500-person wedding.
Right? Yeah, I felt honored being there. Honestly,
but you're important, super important in my life, and the people that are important in my life, I don't have to talk to every single day,
right? Or
know the ins and outs. But if you were a staple in my life or a anchor at some point, which you are, I could always text you. I know you're going to answer, say something. You're very predictable. You are the most predictable person I know. So
wow,
it's
is
great.
That good?
It's for me.
Okay, you needed that predictability.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
You're the same person you've always been. I know your humor. I know, you just know what to expect out of you. There's always something you're always going to be a little annoying,
So you come back to the days of high school where I was flicking your pen while you're taking a test.
But you haven't changed. You're authentic to who you are.
Right, yeah. And I think that's why
I respect you deeply as a person and a teacher and a husband and a dad, and I like to surround myself with authentic people. You're still listening to Pearl Jam and going to the same sushi place. You're just very predictable.
That's great. That's so funny. Well, listen, I never want to make this about me, but I do like hearing these things come up, and it's fun. So
I don't need to catch up with you. I know exactly what's going on in your life. Your mom's still a Bikram yoga teacher. You're still scooping out your bagels. It's so easy.
That's amazing. That's great. Well, this is a lot of fun for both of us, I think.
Very fun.
Thanks for doing this. Me. Absolutely. Anything you want to plug? Anything before we end?
No.
Okay, good. Lisa Hayham. I hope you enjoyed this episode of High School Matters. I want to thank my guest and former student and friend, Lisa Hayham. If you enjoyed this conversation, please rate and review this show on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen, and tell all of your friends to rate and review it too. Every positive review helps new listeners find the show, so spread the word and subscribe. I want to see those 5 stars. If you have any questions, suggestions, or comments, send me a DM at HSMattersPod or you can send me an email the old-fashioned way at hsmatterspod@gmail.com. Also, follow us on social media at the handle hsmatterspod for weekly updates on the podcast, for pictures of me and guests, for pictures of guests from high school, and any other information about the show. High School Matters was created, produced, and edited by yours truly, your host, Randy Appel. Consulting producers are John Fuss and David Friedman. Sound consultant is Peter Lennox. Our music is written and performed by me and is produced by Lee Tepper. High School Matters is, and always has been, a Belston production. 88766 signing off. I hope everyone learned something and enjoyed.